Welcome to Toxicology, brought to you by Recovery Unplugged, the place where we talk about all things substance abuse, recovery, and mental health, with guests offering varying perspectives and viewpoints. Hosts Joseph Gordo and Jason Cabello share about their addiction and recovery and other serious subject matter through lighthearted yet candid conversation.
1, 2, 3, shoot. Get you every time. Go ahead, please, Joseph. Have the honors. Do the honors. Take the honors.
Have the honors.
Have the honors.
Have them.
There we
I'm
go.
I'm giving them to you. You have
the
them,
honors.
right?
Ninth grade education.
Emotionally disturbed.
Emotionally handicapped.
Emotionally handicapped. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Toxicology, the world's latest and greatest podcast on recovery, addiction, and mental health. I am your host, Joseph Gordo, LCDC, and this is my co-host, Mr. Jason Cabello. Hey.
Popping and locking. Oh, I never got to school you on what the rerun was when from our Kathleen Bradley episode.
Oh, yeah. You were like a b-boy at one point in your life, weren't you?
I was a b-boy. First wave breakdancing, 1983. 1983. I discovered breakdancing. I was 9 years old, and I saw a documentary called Style Wars, and it was about the New York City like hip hop and graffiti scene. Yeah, and I was just like, that's. Got me into documentary films at a young age, and I just wanted to live there. I wanted to live in like the Bronx and like the
Bed-Stuy.
Yeah, like the Rocksteady crew were like my heroes. And
did you have like the Adidas tracksuit, gold chain, bucket hat, piece of cardboard you carried?
I did. Yeah. I all of it, and I was all in. And then the funny thing is, like, I would go. So that is very East Coast, New York City. Heart of breakdancing. Yeah. And I'd go stay with my father in LA. And it was like two different worlds. They were still breakdancing, but they dressed different. So Rerun was a character on this show called What's Happening, if you ever seen that. And they would do these like dances when they're like standing up and something like that, yeah. And so I went to Chuck E. Cheese and won a child's breakdancing contest in California. I showed them how we did it in Miami. and they called windmills egg rolls. And I was just like, oh, you could do an egg roll? I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about, Holmes.
See, the closest I've ever come to breakdancing was in the late 80s, early 90s when I was trying to emulate the backspin that Michelangelo from Ninja Turtles would do.
I know the backspin of which you speak.
I feel like I should mention to our listeners, we are also the mental health podcast that talks about Ninja Turtles the most.
I think 4 out of 5 episodes, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles get mentioned at least once.
At least once, right?
Yeah.
So I was driving over here, and I think I mentioned a while back that I'd been on like a sad country music kick lately. Oh, man. So still on the sad country music kick for sure. But as I was driving here, though, I realized like I wasn't feeling sad. You know, the music just really kind of helped me
get sad.
Not get sad. But it it's like, have you ever seen the movie Inside Out?
I've seen like bits. I was still high when it came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the movie Inside Out, basically, the little girl, she has like 4 or 5 emotions, right? And it's like anger or sadness or happy or whatever, right? And then at the end of the movie, like the big development is that she develops memories that have a little bit of blue sadness and a little bit of yellow joy, right? Like that they can be together. Like she matures emotionally. And I was like, you know what? Like the sad music lets me feel sad and have some joy, because I'm driving in my car singing the sad lyrics. And I was just like, man, like, I know we talk about it all the time, but like, sometimes you have those moments where like, like it's not just lip service. Like music really does change like the chemistry in my brain.
It does. So I recently had the privilege to edit together one of your presentations, the Music is Medicine presentation that you do for Recovery Unplugged, title sponsor. So at Recovery Unplugged, we use music to get to the underlying cause of people's mental health struggles and addiction. Yeah. And it works.
Absolutely.
I'm a walking testimonial.
Or testimony.
I'm a walking testimony of the power of how it works. 19 times in treatment before that. And then one time at Recovery Unplugged, man, changed my life. And I have to tell you, I didn't hear anything different. The therapists didn't tell me anything different. I didn't hear anything different in groups, but something about just being able to use music if I wasn't in the mood to share, stuff like that. Yeah. It really, really does help. So, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just, and like, I love like moody music.
Yeah.
Like, especially like a day like today, it's kind of like, it's not hot out, it's not cold out, but it's kind
that
of
neutral
gray.
zone. Yeah.
And I'm just like, what kind of music? If you had a song that would embody the way today feels outside, a little dark and gloomy?
I actually have an album.
Oh, okay, even better.
The Portishead Live from Roseland Ballroom album. Like, that is the embodiment of like music that sounds depressing as shit, but for me, like, it feels happy and joyful. You know what I mean? Like, like, I don't know. You ever see, there's this movie with Paul Rudd where he's like real into 90s music. And he's like turning 40 or something. He like loves the Pixies and stuff.
Oh yeah, This Is 40.
Yeah, This Is 40.
I love that movie.
And he loves all this 90s, Pixies and all this. And his wife is like, "What is this music? Like, you people."
When he tries to play it for his kids, talk about how when the Pixies, when Frank Black starts screaming how much that meant.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
I'm basically Paul Rudd.
That's pretty. But he ran like a record label and shit in the movie. But that's one of my faves.
Last thing, speaking of records. So, my wife had been telling me there's a Christmas present that didn't get here because it was coming from the UK and they were on like a postal strike or something. And so I got a Christmas present this week.
Oh, nice!
It finally came in the mail. Original issue of "Is This It" by The Strokes on vinyl with the alternate cover, because here in the US it was just that blue and yellow kind of abstract thing. Yeah. And so it's the real one with the silhouette with the girl and the hand on the butt. And
that record was polarizing for a lot of my friends because it was like these young rich kids that were kind of doing like the 70s style New York music, and it was like you either loved it or you hated it. And I love it. I love that album so much.
You know what? Last night was a bop the second I heard it, but I never got into the rest of it. And it wasn't until later I had a girl that really liked playing Tetris on the Nintendo 64. And she would play the Is This It album. And I was like, this is actually fucking amazing.
Yeah. Oh, what is your album for the Driving Around in Gloomy Times? Is it The Strokes? Is that
No, the Portishead.
Portishead.
Live from Roseland Ballroom. Anyway. Speaking of music and the power of music and music helping people recover and you being a walking testimony to the power of that, today's guest is also a walking, talking testimony of the power of music. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good friend, always down to help. He was actually in the Christmas commercial for Recovery Unplugged that I showed a couple weeks back, and that was his child, who was the star of the show. Good friend to me, good friend to everybody that I know.
Dirt bike aficionado.
Track
designer extraordinaire.
Great musician.
Fucking Renaissance man.
What a great guy.
Yeah. Should we bring him on?
We should just talk about him.
Let's just talk about it.
Let's leave him over there.
You're missing. I get to see his reactions over here in the corner the whole time.
Yeah. Is he tearing up?
I don't know. Okay. He's laughing. Anyway, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome this week's guest, Mr. Tyler Cricchi.
You've been poofed.
Damn, here I am.
All right, so
Here I am.
question of the day.
Okay.
Acapella. Does it or does it not fuck?
Dude, acapella is, you ever seen 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yeah.
You ever seen that movie? Yeah, very similar. Very similar. Struggles in life, Some people see what's in it and they get that expectation and they're like, this is okay, but then the real outside picture of acapella is just like, it doesn't fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Does
what
not
I'm saying?
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Andy Bernard in The Office.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in an a cappella group in college?
You know-
Beatboxing is a form of a cappella
That's low-key
too.
fire, though.
Exactly.
See,
That's
here's
what I'm
beatbox-
saying.
Like
See-
watching it live. Like if I heard a track of somebody beatboxing, I don't think I'd be like, yo, play that back.
Right.
But if I was watching somebody do it, I'd be like, bro, keep going.
I can see Tyler in the bathtub just listening to beatboxing.
In the bathtub. So, like, I mean, see, and so that's the difference, right? So you can enjoy a cappella,
Yeah.
you can enjoy beatboxing, but only one of them fucks, right?
Only in
What if
private.
they fuck
like,
each other?
like,
Oh, what would be the
like,
time?
here's the,
You know what I'm saying?
but like, think about it. Anna Kendrick in the singing movie, right? Singing "I Saw the Sun,"
Perfect?
Pitch Perfect.
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
not super cool,
Fire.
right? But Biz Markie doing "If Your Girl Only Knew" the beat and the vocals at the same time.
Bro.
That's
fire.
But so question, right? As men especially, right? Like, how much stuff do you enjoy that you don't share with people because it's not cool, or like you feel a little, because there's a lot of things that like I enjoy that I don't necessarily just bring up in conversations because I'm a little
There's
I
a
don't know,
ton,
embarrassed,
and
or-
it it goes with like some of my skater friends. There's a lot of like skaters who are really hated on,
Yeah.
like really really hated on. But I'm like, I like watching them. They're good, but I won't tell them that.
Yeah.
Certain music. At home, my girlfriend Gabby, she makes fun of me for just about everything, so it doesn't matter. Like I don't even bother hiding everything. Be like, isn't this cool? She'll be like, shut up, Grandpa. Hey, welcome to the show, Tyler.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We started right off the bat.
Dude, I feel like giving a fuck about that takes so much brain power and energy, dude. I just stopped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where it's like you're about to say something because you think it's going to be cool, you think it's going to be funny, and then you're like, oh wait, they might not think that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That is like my anxiety at its finest, and that's where I'm like, nah, you're my bitch. Like I'm finna say this shit. You know what I mean? And like I don't really care what people think too often, man. But in the back of my head, I always do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't let it control me, like my behaviors that much anymore.
For sure.
But like I still care.
Yeah. I think everybody does.
And especially like what's real weird is a lot of my shit comes from like being kind of punk rock and like trying to have that punk rock cred, and not being able to say like, you know what, like I want it that way is catchy as shit. Like,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
You are.
But no, I think a lot of that comes with like age too, and
Yeah.
I'm sure being a dad of young kids, like you're gonna get made fun of no matter what. So your skin gets a little bit thicker.
Yeah. No, every day my kids are like, Dad, you don't fuck. Every
I
day.
feel like I do, or else you wouldn't be.
Yeah, right.
Tyler,
Stand off that one.
I haven't seen you since the motorcycle rally.
Dude, damn.
Are you
Remember
kidding
that
me?
I know, it's been a long
That was
time,
before
dude.
I even lived here. That was like
before COVID.
That was like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
was-
almost. Yeah, I'm coming up on 4 years. So yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I told him you look great, man. Look like you've been in the gym, dude. Look like you've been.
The buff guy that runs shit is what we call him around here
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah. Once.
But that was a wild experience.
Dude.
That motorcycle rally sober.
That was my first time ever experiencing anything. I saw a dude getting a blowjob on the back of a golf cart.
Yeah.
That was like,
There was things like that happening.
they are out here.
And we were there like, party
They
sober.
definitely fuck.
Why don't you explain what you're talking about here?
So, okay. So one of the things about addiction and recovery and mental health treatment is that, people who know about it, but like, how do we make sure, how do we reach people that need what we do that aren't necessarily like Googling rehab, trying to reach people before they even know that they need help, right? And so for a while we were going to different events that weren't recovery related at all, but we thought there might be a high
Far from recovery related. This one was.
high incidence.
That one definitely wasn't
Yeah.
it, for sure.
So we went to the Republic of Texas biker rally here in Austin, and interesting crowd.
I got the bait and switch on that one.
Yeah.
Because I was in town like filming a commercial for Recovery Unplugged, and Joseph's like, dude, we're going to be out in the rally. Come out, bring the camera. I'll get you a helicopter ride.
We were gonna do the
We go
helicopter.
out,
I remember that,
We get out there, and there's not even a helicopter there.
There was. They just stopped.
Yeah,
I
there
didn't
was one
see it.
somewhere in the far corner somewhere. I think they had stopped.
It was like $50 for like 10 minutes.
Joseph put me on his shoulders and had me go, but no, you still owe me a helicopter ride as far as I'm concerned.
All right. We'll find ourselves.
Okay, it's official now. And it's documented.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I owe Jason a helicopter ride. So Tyler, when I first met you, when we were hanging out then, you hadn't been sober very long.
No, I think like 90 days,
Yeah.
maybe in between 90 and 6 months.
Yeah. So, I mean, how was that? Because like at that time, I probably had like, I don't know, 11, 12 years sober, something like that.
Yeah.
Like I was, drinking whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like for you, 90 days being at a place like that with just, fucking debauchery.
Dude. Okay, so I'll tell you the story after this, but I will say I feel like at that point I was coming from, the backstory of my life is nothing pretty, and like coming from all of that stuff, like where I was, it was just like I was so lost in the beauty of life. Like I paid no mind to anything else. Like it was just like, oh my God, I've never seen the clouds this clear. I've never.
I was gonna say the pink cloud that they talk about
Dude,
in early recovery.
Like, and I mean, like, and I'm still on that today. Like, I'm still so grateful for where I'm at. But like that early 90 to 6 months was just like, oh my God, like this is possible. Like this is amazing. Even the problems that were coming my way were like, bitch, you ain't shit.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Were
like,
you doing
really,
the happy crying a lot?
Oh my God, yeah. I still do it, dude, all the time with my son. It's
Yeah.
fuck, I'm a crying dad, man.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. But yeah, and it truly, it wasn't that difficult, and I think it's just because I wasn't thinking about any of that. But then, later that night, I was in that race, and I had never raced supermotos before, so I was in that race. I did real well, and ended up hanging out with some of the bike guys later, and that's where I would say like that was my mistake of that night. And obviously nothing happened, but it's one of them things where it's like, where do you put yourself to be, in line with what actions, who's doing what while you're around type thing. And I was around everybody having a good time, making the laps, and some dude was running around with like a squirt gun filled with vodka and like came up to me and like squirted me in my face. And thank God, I have good friends with me who, are like, hey, let's not go to jail or let's not like do anything. Cause that was like the one thing that was like, why am I here? This is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just took some of my friends that were there. Johnny and Desiree were there.
Yeah.
Desiree is now my wife. Johnny's still my best friend. They were there and they kind of were just like, man, like he didn't take nothing from you, like it's not like he
wasn't trying to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't know, you know what I'm saying?
Trying to share a good time with you.
And he was running around doing it to everybody, and everybody's all like, you know what I'm saying? So like for me to be a dick about it would be unreasonable, but it was like in my mindset, it was like, this motherfucker doesn't know, you know what I'm saying? Right. So
I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't get. Like when someone they love is getting into recovery, right? They're like, oh, like we have to hide the booze, or is it okay for us to drink around you? And they get real concerned. And like in reality, like if you're owning your recovery,
that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, whatever's going around you should not matter. Like you should not expect people to change what they're doing for you.
Yeah, like music, I literally have gone places reeking of weed. Yeah, and people are like, bro, what the fuck? And I'm like, studio, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in the studio, bro.
I was at the tattoo shop the other day.
Yeah.
And one of the guys had just smoked, I guess, before he came in, but it was potent.
Yeah.
And he hung his hoodie up right next to my hoodie. And then I had to go to like a meeting afterwards, and I was like, this hoodie smells
smoking that shit.
Yeah.
I know, and that's such an awkward thing. Like I always worry about it if I'm leaving the studio, going to like if I'm going to a meeting or like whatever, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna that's that like I care what people think. Like I'm gonna walk in here and people are gonna be like, this motherfucker's stoned.
Right, right.
So yeah, man.
But you're not. Yeah, because I was working at a restaurant in my early recovery, and I had almost like a sushi station, and then so I had a chance to talk to people as I'm making their food. And I'd tell people that I was in recovery, and they'd have like their drinks, and I'm like, "Oh, sorry about." I'm like, "Don't be fucking sorry."
Yeah, right.
Yourself. Like I'm the one that
I feel like that almost makes it more awkward.
Yeah,
like, when people are so cautious of you, which I appreciate. I think any addict, low key appreciates that. But I think the first feeling, at least for me, that comes up is like, oh my God, am I making you feel weird?
So there's two things. A, if you're a vegetarian and you tell somebody that you're a vegetarian, they will tell you their diet.
You'd be like, oh yeah, oh that's cool. I just
I'm
eat
on
a
a
little bit of
everything diet.
chicken. I just eat a little bit of fish, and then if you tell them you're in recovery, like, oh that's cool. You know, I drink a little bit on the
I
weekend.
know, yeah.
I might smoke a little bit
factual.
of weed. Like they feel like
That's
this
factual.
obligation to tell you that like,
Yeah.
I'm not that bad.
But that may be their way of carrying what you
Yeah.
think.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That may be their way of doing that.
So at the tattoo shop, right? The guy that was tattooing me was not the guy that was super stoned, right?
Thank God.
And we were talking, and he was like, "Yeah, you know," he's like, "You know, I haven't had a drink in about a year. You know, just I'm off the sauce." And I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, I was like, "Yeah, you know," and he said that before I said anything. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you know, I'm actually in recovery. You know, I've been sober for a while, whatever." And I don't tell people, like, if it's just normal people, I'm not like, "Oh, it's been 14 years."
Yeah.
But I was like, you know, I've been sober. You know, he's like, oh, so like, you don't drink. He's like, do you do anything else? I'm like, no, like
Nothing.
nothing. But like, there's lots of people who like, they're like, hey, I quit drinking, but I still smoke weed.
Yeah, I have
or
friends like that.
Or I quit doing drugs and I don't drink hard booze anymore or whatever. And like, something I really like about that is just like, recovery is really broad now, you know,
It is
for a lot of folks, you know, like obviously there's, you know, like for me, it's always been abstinence-based recovery, but like, there's so many different ways, and like, you know, I wasn't gonna be shitty at the tattoo and be like, well, you're not really. Like,
Yeah. Right.
well, I mean, he didn't even say like I'm in recovery. He just said I don't drink.
Yeah.
And you know, you're so right. And my opinion has changed so much in the past couple of years because I was, you know, living in South Florida where I was. It was like a huge place for 12-step meetings, and like it's very abstinence based and very rigid.
Yeah.
Like there's no mood or mind altering substances. There is, because you could have caffeine and you could have nicotine.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll argue about that another time.
Kombucha.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, somebody's personal recovery doesn't have to fit the mold of any one particular group. For me, that's what I need, because if I stray from that at all, I'm going down fast. But I have a friend, I'm actually trying to get on the show. I won't mention their name, but been in recovery for quite a few years, and then recently decide they might want to smoke a little weed or something like that, and it seems to be working for them.
Yeah.
You know, and who am I to say that they're not still in recovery?
Yeah.
And by their standards, because they're not doing the damage to themselves that they've done before.
Yeah.
They've put quite a few years in. So here's the question, though, because I know in certain groups, some would call that a relapse.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, is it?
I mean, I only shoot heroin once a year. And no, but I think, you know, there's two things, right? It's the motive, right? Because like it's not a relapse if you have surgery and they give you opiates, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's a
You
good
can
point.
put the opiate in your body
there.
and you have not relapsed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Point.
Now, if you take two of them, not because you're in pain, but because you just want to catch a buzz, then you did relapse,
Absolutely.
right?
Not
So it
as
comes down to
prescribed.
motive,
The
right?
mindset.
Like, is he trying to smoke weed because he feels like there's something missing in his life he's trying to fix? You know, like that has so much to do with
Absolutely. I think you know, self-awareness is like everything in that aspect, because I've gone and done like those PTSD, like the mushroom treatment where they like give you mushrooms and they like walk you through these, and like they'll tell you, you know, like, hey, have you ever had addiction issues or this and that? And I think it's all a mindset thing, because like I went into that with the mindset of like, I'm going to go here and get this treatment.
Yes.
I didn't go in it with like the mindset of, oh, I'm about to go in here and fucking trip balls. And really, it wasn't even like that. It wasn't even like, you know, people think it's like fucking you trip balls and like they talk to you all crazy. It really wasn't even like that. It was helpful, extremely.
And I've seen it go both ways, right? Like there's another guy that you also know that we won't say his name, but like he was like, I'm gonna go do the ayahuasca because I'm gonna heal. And it's like, fuck you, dude. You're not trying to heal shit.
Thing, right? That's a hallucinogen. That's a bit much for me.
Yeah.
I feel like my mind already does its own fucking crazy shit. So like if I'm adding like anything that takes it to a different realm, I'm probably fucked by the time I get there. You know what I mean?
So speaking of crazy shit, I mean, we've already gone off on a bunch of tangents, but like I'd like to get some of your story in this thing,
sure,
right?
man.
So like, you know, just I don't know, give us the rundown. Start where you want to.
I'll give you a little bit of background. You know, I had a really good family until I was like, well, I'm not going to say until. I still have a great family to this day. But, you know, it was a great household. Like if you would have took my picture at 7 years old with my family and then ran it down the timeline, you would never see any of that. Like my dad is the head of aviation warfare for the Department of Defense.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, we chose different roads.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then my mom works on like unmanned aircraft vehicles and stuff like that. So they, great parents, man. Everything
good
was
folks, good jobs, pretty straight and
absolutely.
narrow. Yeah.
Extremely good jobs. Like my dad's like probably one of the higher paid people in the government, which is, that's pretty cool to me now. I look up to him for that. He's been working in the government for like 38 years. That's insanity. But
Great question. Does the government fuck?
no, not me. They fuck me. That's for sure. Definitely.
So growing up, pretty
Yeah,
American
man.
dream.
Yeah, like bicycles for Christmas, like that type of man.
And where did you grow up?
So Southern Maryland. It's in Maryland, about an hour and a half outside of Baltimore. Honestly, a pretty rural community, like nice houses, stretched apart about an acre and a half, like plenty.
Pet lobster.
It was a good childhood, man, and my parents got divorced when I was like 7 years old, and I think that I blamed it on myself. I think I still haven't, like, I've worked through the emotions of it, but I haven't worked through the like whys and the, you know what I mean? Why'd I do this and that? And I think it was just I blame myself for that happening. I started becoming like a violent kid, man. Like I started wanting to fight. I wanted
7?
like I wanted to fight. Well, it kind of started with like destructive behavior first. You know what I'm saying? Like I would fuck the house up or
Burn
like
stuff.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Take a saw and like cut shit in half for no reason. And it started that way, man, and it kind of spiraled into like fighting. And then once I found fighting, that was, I think, truly like my first high. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, oh, I love this. So I followed that road, man, and I just kept doing bad. And obviously, you like to fight, and you're not hanging around the right crowd at that point. The kids just didn't do the things I did. They didn't smoke weed. They were in middle school. So I hung out with the older kids, man, and I got in some dirt bike accidents, other things, and I was always complaining about pain. And eventually, one of my friends, offered me a Percocet, and I kind of cut the backstory because it's nothing. There's nothing pretty about my backstory ever. Anybody that's heard my story knows that. Prison was involved. I probably spent 4.5, 5 years of my life locked up. I'm only 28. I've been to 16 rehabs. Recovery Unplugged was the last one.
Trying to beat Jason's record.
Yeah, I was on the way, man. I think if I would have went to one more, I would have died before I made it back for sure. But yeah, and overdose. Everything you would expect to be in a drug addict's history is in my history. And, the main thing I think that to take from my history was the trauma. Like I've had so many traumatic experiences in the aspect of, just being in a city like that, Baltimore City, just being in a city like that. And, my forte, my mindset was, I'm not going to rob people that work for their stuff because then they can call the police on me legally and these police can come get me. So I'm going to rob the drug dealers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the guys who have what I want already.
Way to do it.
Yeah, I'm going to go rob them. And so, I just the trauma that comes from that. People don't like that. People shoot at you when you rob them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And people can't aim for fuck in the city. So they hit other people and you see this shit and it like fucks your head up. And that's kind of what made me get out. So, one of those God moments, man. I was in detox and I was leaving detox to go to another treatment facility back in Baltimore. And you actually know him. He used to work for you guys, Brian McCall.
Yeah.
Called me. He was like, I was literally in the parking lot. I don't know how this worked out. There was probably a 45-second time period from when I turned my phone on to like when I was supposed to turn it off to get a number out of it. And I turned it on and he just happened to be calling. He was like, where are you at? I was like, I'm leaving the detox and I'm going to this halfway house that y'all set me up with. He was like, no, stay there. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I'm coming to get you. I was like, what? Like what? This doesn't even make sense, right? And he got fired from his old job for that, for taking me from that treatment center because I was supposed to go somewhere else, but he had in his like, and this is like my first real experience with recovery. Like this guy knows me. He knows all about me. I've known him for a long time, but like...
Wait, is that B-Rain?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But like I didn't know what was best for myself. And Joe Nectar was with him as well. And I didn't know what was best for myself. Like, so he came and he told me like, yo, this is a music-based recovery treatment program. And I was like, sign me the fuck up. Where do I go? How do I get there? And he literally, dude, took me to the airport, got me on a plane, sent me here. And dude, I have had the time of my life. I can't, like, it's hard to remember all the good times I've had because there's been so many, you know, and
because you have like a solid crew and everything. But I got a couple of questions. So
okay, yeah, absolutely.
going from a kid who comes from like a nice neighborhood to then ends up on the streets of Baltimore. Let's get into a little bit of some of the choices that were made there, because I have a lot of friends who came from, you know, pretty decent families and then chose the street life instead. So I mean, it happens. You know, it definitely happens, and I got to experience both sides of the tracks.
Jason, one does not choose the street life. the street,
Obi-Wan.
the street chooses you.
Do your fucking Ninja Turtle backspin. But no, I totally understand, because, you know, my family, we had money growing up.
Yeah.
And then by the time I was, you know, we were living in a super nice area in Miami. And then by the time I was 14 or 15, like, we were like desolate, like living in.
Can I make a real political aside real quick?
Sure.
Why is it always like we equate having money with like being good people and having a good life?
Well, you just have more. It's not. You have more opportunities and more things to avoid. So living in some of the rougher neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You run across some problems that you won't run across living in, you know, in Maryland with your pet lobster. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about certain things.
It's a blue crab.
I mean, everybody has problems, and
I'm sorry.
No. It's valid. It's valid because, you know, some people might not know, and it's just like, you know, you have to deal with some problems in those environments that you don't have to deal with in others.
Yeah, and money has everything to do with where you come from.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like where you're currently at in life has almost everything to do with money, sadly.
Yeah.
But it's, you know.
Capitalism.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so what were some of the, let's say, left turns that you made to end up in choosing to, you know, be hanging out in Baltimore and you know, living the life of crime?
Well, I can tell you, man, I'll be honest with you, and this is something a lot of artists will not do. I will tell you that, you know, when I was young in my nice parents' house watching all these videos of these dudes with like nice cars and money and all these things, I'm like, dude, that shit is like, like, you work for 40 years, Dad? What the fuck? You know what I mean? These dudes just made a song. Look at all this money. And, you know, you don't really know what it takes at that point. But it was appealing to me, and I feel like I kind of.
Is there any artist in particular you're thinking of right now?
So like really not too streety either. Like I really listen to like Nelly, Kid Rock, 50 Cent, Eminem, stuff like that when I was younger.
More pop stuff.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Kid Rock too. I listen to a lot of Kid Rock because I felt like the outcast because I didn't like to hang out with the kids in my neighborhood or anything like that. I like to hang out with the people with less for some reason. Like I enjoyed that. And I didn't even like to go to my house with more afterwards. I almost felt guilty, right? You understand
was it like I'm experiencing something that most of the people I know don't experience, like how these guys live, or was it like I'm doing something dangerous?
Or was it like I don't even need all that?
Or was it like I feel like I'm better than these guys, so I like being around them?
I think it was just so much less thought than that. I think it was a simplistic thought of being like, I'm going to be the best at this.
Yeah.
Like I've, you know, that doesn't appeal to me. The life that my dad and mom want for me doesn't appeal to me. This life appeals to me. I'm going to be the best at it that I can be.
It's almost like you wanted to kind of strip your privilege.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
see like, okay, I can make this. Because it
may be a guilt thing. Sitting here talking to you about it now, like I'm kind of thinking like it almost sounds, you know, like a guilt thing back then. Like I have all this. Why? All these people don't have all this.
Because it would probably have been pretty easy to just be like, hey, Dad, can we build a recording studio
in my room?
You know what I
mean? Yeah, really though.
Bypass
and I used to ask my dad for, like now looking back, it's like, man, I wish I would have asked for shit like that. But like I was a kid that was like, give me a monster truck or a dirt bike or, you know what I'm saying? Just like shit that was unnecessary. Like if I was like, hey, I got a craft. Can you invest in me? My dad probably would have been like, fuck yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Business plan together.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And
Get me a laptop, a mic, and then Fruity Loops.
Dude, it's crazy because that's kind of what me and my dad are doing now. He's like, you know, he's thinking about retiring and this. And I'm like throwing these ideas like, we'll buy 50 acres. I'll build a track and we'll run it off that land. You know what I'm saying? Or do this. And it's cool how that comes full circle because me and my dad literally did not get along. Like we did not. I swung at my dad when I was 12 over some stupid shit.
How'd that go?
He kicked me out of his house. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you that at the age of 12, I was a better fighter than my dad for sure. But he also was not. He's not that guy.
He's not a physical guy.
No, he's not that guy at all. Like he would much rather talk to you, shake your hand, walk away, which is, I look up to
or
that
drop
now.
a bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
throwing some Nate warfare.
Him and your
My
mom.
son just slapped me. Send the Apache. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. Yeah, in his residential neighborhood. Yeah, man.
Killed your pet crab or pet lobster.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. I think to go back to the choices thing, man. I think it was a mindless choice. Like I didn't know what came with that. I just knew that at that time it was something new to me, and I wanted to be all in. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Was there ever a point where you were like, if I could go back right now and leave this shit, this is getting a little serious here.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, I'll talk about it without talking about it because none of this stuff is really seen, judiciary or anything.
We're not past the statute of limitations.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to talk, but we're not going to say. Anyway, yeah, dude, the first time I ever went to go do something, to take something that wasn't ours, it went way left. Like it was, and this is also a turning point for the worst. Like this was a time where I was like, this is dangerous, but also my stupid thinking is like, I could do this way better myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need these three people. Like, I could do this way better on my own. But that first time was definitely a moment where I was like, holy shit. Like, I could have died, first of all, 100%. Like, I definitely could have died. And second of all, if I didn't die, I could have went to prison for at least like 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that shit is no joke. Prison for 10 years is like fucking, dude, it does not fuck. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, we talk about a lot. We hear a lot of guests who talk about like, oh, I was just smoking weed. And I was like, I'll never do mushrooms. And then I did mushrooms.
Yeah.
But it's the same way with like all the stuff around the drugs,
1000%.
right? Like I would never rob somebody. And then once you rob someone, you're someone who robs people.
Yeah.
Like you shatter these glass ceilings.
100%.
Where different behaviors that at one point were totally unacceptable to you are now like part of who you are.
Yeah, the morals go out the window.
Exactly.
Yeah. Out the window.
I talk a lot that I still, with coming up on 7 years clean, I would say almost every night I have using dreams.
Yeah.
And never the good stuff. It's always the feeling I'm about to start getting sick and I just robbed the drug dealer.
And you never get high, though.
And no, I never get. So I'm about to get dope sick, and the guy I just robbed knows where I'm at, and I got to get the fuck out of here. But I have to get more shit before I can get out of here. Like that feeling. That's almost every night.
Yeah,
I wake up from it in a pretty nice life. So I've learned to appreciate it. But
for sure,
that feeling, that restless feeling after you've done the deed.
Yeah,
and you're like, all right, I can't go down this street ever again for the rest of my life.
I know. And in cities like Baltimore, man, that's what made it difficult, I feel like, as like someone, because mind you, I am genuinely a person that like anything I do, I'm going to try to do it to the best of my ability, no matter what it is, right? Yeah. So like it gets hard because you start hitting like corner here, and Baltimore's just a bunch of rectangles, dude. So
it's
like,
a grid.
Yeah. So like, the time, the car got whatever riddled, looked like Swiss cheese type deal. It was one of those things where I was like running from this guy, came down this street, and accidentally just happened to like bump into this dude here. You know what I mean? So it's just one of the things, man, where it's like, dude, karma's everywhere once you start doing that type of shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So you needed to get out of town to get
Dude, when I left, I had $50,000 on my head.
Shut up.
Swear. When I left, I had $50,000 on my head. And that wasn't why I left. I left because of the situation, what I had seen and went through. It was one of my good friends that made it back. I didn't think he made it back, right? Like, that's another story in its own, which has been since I've been clean. Like, he called me, I was like 2 years clean, and I hadn't talked to this dude since that night, right? And I'm thinking he's like, out of there. And he called me and was like, had this like he couldn't really talk really. But like he can't walk, can't talk. Dude, that fucked me up, bro. He's like, why haven't you came and seen me? It's like, oh my God, dude. Fuck, gives me goosebumps to this day. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I thought for sure, like I seen it go right through his shit. Like I thought for sure he was fucking gone. But oh shit, I got off that saying that made me lose my train of thought.
No, you're good. So there's a picture of you
slumped, diddly dumped. Yes, sir.
Let's talk about a little bit of time leading up to that particular photo.
Okay. Yeah, so I had just
Describe this photo for the audio only listeners, please.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody.
So it seems to be a park, and there's a park bench, and Tyler Cricchi is sitting in it, neck fully bent over backwards over the
exorcism style.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a completely like chin pointing up to the sky and just appears to be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Brought to you by heroin.
yeah, fentanyl. Fentanyl for sure. Yeah. I stopped looking for heroin after I got a dose of fentanyl. But yeah, that was I had actually just finished doing some shit in the city. I had a girlfriend at the time who lived in Frederick. I wasn't allowed to stay at my mom's, wasn't allowed. People kept coming to my mom's looking for me. Like, if you don't have this money, we're going to fucking blow your shit down type shit. And it wasn't cool. You know what I mean? So I got the fuck out of there. I went and stayed with my girlfriend in Frederick. I had done a bunch of shit in the city, came back, couldn't believe I got away, did a shit ton of dope. And I went to like take my dog to the park. And at the time, you know, the girl I was with, obviously, she was like a nurse. Like, she was not at all into that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take my dog for a walk. And I went to that park and did more dope and ended up passed out on that bench. So, like, I guess, I don't know, however long later. Was
the dog okay?
Yeah. My dog, Tyson. Yeah. I don't know if you met him or not. Everybody knows Tyson. Love Tyson. But you know, a couple hours later or whatever it was, she came back and took that picture of me and like sent it to my mom and was like, you know, what the fuck is your son doing type shit. Woke me up all mad and shit. And so that was pretty much that picture, man. That picture was taken as like one of those things like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? You know what I mean? And yeah, dude, now it's like, I look at that picture and I'm just like, what were you doing? You know, what the fuck were you doing with your life? You're at a dog park, slumped on a bench at like, you know, 20 years old, dude. Like, get it together, bro.
So let's start getting closer to now. So like, obviously you're sober now.
Yeah.
You mentioned 16 treatments.
Yeah.
Right. And then finally getting it at Recovery Unplugged. But like, what was different? You know, what was missing from all those other treatments? Were you just like not motivated? Were you not ready? Like, what?
I think not ready had a lot to do with it a lot of times. Like the first one I went to, I was like 17 and I was still on Percocets and it was, you know, so I think a lot of it had to do with not being ready. And like I said, I'm one of those people who like, if I do it all the way. I tire it out. And once it's tired out, I'm like, what's next? So I feel like it was one of those things where I hadn't like, I guess, finished my career in drug use. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this time around, man, I don't think it was so much the treatment as much as it was how they gave it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, not so much, they said all the same shit. You know, it's all the same shit. It's just more like the way. Like, you go to another rehab, right? I went to these other rehabs, and it was more like they work there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like they work there. Call you in their office, give you this blanket conversation that falls under a bunch of different shit, and then send you out of the way. Whereas like Recovery Unplugged, and I'm really not just saying this, man, especially, I'll never forget Brittany, man. Brittany O'Malley? Yes, dude. One of my favorite people. And why can't I remember her name? I just saw Anna. Sorry. Yeah. Anna. But mainly those two, I won't forget, because the emotion I thought I didn't have, right, they pull out of you. Like, Brittany kind of found a way to pull out like that soft side. You know what I mean? And then Anna was like, you don't think you can cry? Like, bitch, I'm gonna make you cry. You know what I'm saying? And like, Anna genuinely made me cry, dude. And it was just like turning points like that, man, where like everything that I thought I didn't have anymore, they somehow found a way to like genuinely bring it out. Not just like, you know, because when you're getting clean, if people are trying to tell you to do something, you almost got a mask for everything. Yeah. It's like, absolutely. Oh, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. But really, you're back in your room, like, and your mindset's the same thing. So I think it was just a matter of like, how genuine they were and how like empathetic, not sympathetic, but like empathetic to being like, look, like you're, you know, this is, people go through this. Like, this is okay type shit, man. And oh my God, dude, when they brought me a cake for my fucking birthday, I hadn't said it. I'm about to cry now thinking about it, dude. When I was in residential at RU, they brought me a cake for my birthday. I think it was my 22nd birthday, 23rd maybe. But dude, fuck. I mean, when was the last time, right?
Yeah.
Like, when was the last fucking probably 15, 16 years old?
Someone kept saying to you,
Dude,
the whole deal. Yeah.
Everybody there came in, they're all singing to me and got me a cake. And I'm like, this dude who at that time, I think I'd been there for like a week. So like, I'm still not talking to nobody. Like, I'm still like seeing shit in my head. Like, I just want to fight all the time. And they do this shit. And I'm just like, man, fuck y'all, man.
You know what? We don't talk about, birthday cakes are powerful, man.
Dude.
I have seen.
Being present in a moment is powerful, I would say.
Recently, like, we had this girl who, like, hated everything.
Yeah.
Hated everything, cussing out her counselor, fighting with her roommates. Like, I want to leave every day.
Yeah.
And she was like vegan or gluten free or something. And we sent the chef to go find a fucking vegan cake or whatever.
Yeah.
Zucchini kill.
And so we bust out the birthday cake. You can tell she's cool. She's like, oh, thanks. And then we tell her, I'm like, oh, it's vegan. And she's like, what? Waterworks.
Yeah, dude. That's the stuff.
Like,
Man, but those are breakthroughs, dude.
Yeah.
That's
It's the unexpected validation that somebody, and to know that somebody like thought about it, took the time to even find a vegan one. It's Austin, so it's not that hard.
Yeah,
but you know, it's
Well, on the east side, like, I mean, the far east side of
oh
Austin.
yeah,
You got a point
residential.
there, yeah.
Okay, but yeah, just that feeling like these people remembered, and B gave a shit enough to like put forth an effort to do it.
Yeah.
Even though I've been
Even though I've been a dick.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's one of those things, like, have you seen I don't know if it was a podcast or what, with Shia LaBeouf on it, but he was basically crying, like saying like at his lowest moments, they were on like some type of call where they bring up who's on the other end. And like, he was thinking nobody's going to be there. And the only one there was his wife. Yeah. And he was just like, dude, like I would have killed myself. But like, all it takes is for one person to be present in a certain moment to just switch everything, to be like, damn, like I'm actually, I'm a human being. Like I have a purpose here type thing.
Like we talk about, we don't talk about, but like LGBTQ kids, right?
Yeah.
Like something like 80% of them have seriously contemplated suicide by the time they're 18.
Yeah.
Right? And that number drops in half. So it's cut in half if they have at least one person in their life that they feel like is
They can talk to.
Accepting and supportive of exactly who they are.
Absolutely.
And it's like, that matters, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Even if it's just one person, knowing that someone
100%.
And that's a huge thing that kept me clean was the Recovery Unplugged community, because the alumni stuff is strong. It is strong.
1,000%.
And that's how, I first met you, was going to, was it the Rot Rally the first time we met?
I think so. Yeah.
When I met
came
him,
with the camera. Yeah.
And then I would see you, because I was still living in Florida at the time. And every time I would come out, I would see you at the alumni events, and you always had a crew of people with you, and it's like, you find the people who you mesh with.
Yeah.
And it's great because, I mean, there's, for every person that does make it, there's, dozens that don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to turn your back on those people.
100%.
Not even turn your back on them and be like, listen, if you're going to go and do that thing, I have to stay over here and work on myself, man. But if like, I'm here for you when you come back.
I'm going through that now.
Because I've seen that with a lot of people where it's like, I'm going to be here. If you need to go wander off, just know that when you're ready to come back, I'm here.
Yeah.
And that was really important for me. And a lot of the people who I came through with and shared my early recovery with are now running shit at Recovery Unplugged. We had a good group of people who stayed close, and I've heard I have somebody close to me who works at another treatment center, and they were talking about putting an alumni program together. And they've had people who went to Recovery Unplugged, relapsed, went to their program, and still go to the Recovery Unplugged alumni meetings as opposed to going to their one. So there's just some
key.
there's
key.
something about the
community, like acceptance.
Oh, that's
like
everything.
I mean, when we started talking about like, I think this thing is cool, but I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I think part of that is because I want to feel community with these people. And if I say this, they might judge me,
I
right?
mean, Tyler is open enough to say that he's a Kid Rock fan.
Yeah, right.
On camera.
You know what I'm saying?
Like that's community.
You got to think though, man. You got to think only God to really put it out there. Like one middle finger on the first one, two middle fingers on the second album. Like was there, bro.
I'll admit during the early new metal wave, I had Devil Without a Cause, and I thought it was a great album at the time.
You know?
Yeah.
All right.
These
are what you call breakthroughs.
He had a midget with him, you know.
Dude, he is definitely a left fielder, man.
Yeah.
Definitely a left fielder.
So let's talk a little bit. We're running out of time, but let's talk a little bit about what your life is like now. And I got to tell you before you start talking about it, like lots of people have kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Do they?
Lots of yes, that's how you got it.
Crazy.
No,
That's the thing.
lots of people have kids, but like there's plenty of people I know that like I forget they have children because they don't really talk about them too much or whatever. Yeah. And you know, in the past hour since I got here and we started talking, like you've mentioned your son half a dozen times. Like within 2 minutes, you were like, "Oh yeah, you know, I work for like 2 weeks," and I'm like, "I'm gonna go hang out with my son for a month." Like,
yeah, dude.
Such a good kid too.
I think like that comes off real quick. Like that you're not just a guy who's got a kid.
Yeah.
Like you're a dad and you like being a dad and all that. So, but like,
I do.
tell us about your life now.
Dude, life now is insanity, right? Like, you know, I build dirt bike tracks for a living, right? Like, who the fuck? That's like a dream job. I love dirt bikes in general. I love riding dirt bikes. So I build and test dirt bike tracks and facilities for a living. That's how I make my income. And then, you know, with that income, I spend it on music. I put marketing into music. I back myself. And more than anything, dude, you know, the music and the tracks, that's like almost like spare time. Like I focus all my time on my son, dude. Cause I just feel like, you know, when I turn like between the ages of like 12 and 15, like I started not listening to shit. Like I wasn't trying to hear nothing my parents had to say. You know what I mean? And my dad always worked. He was like in the government, so he always was away. I barely ever saw him. And it's just one of those things where I feel like, you know, and no shade on my dad. I love my dad. He did his best, absolutely. And to this day, he's a great father. But I feel like those times from when you're born to when you're like 12, 13, 14, 15 are like key to like who you're going to be in the world, right? And I feel like, you know, I didn't make the right decisions as like, maybe telling my dad what I wanted to do, or like maybe I did tell him and he was just like, oh, that's not too realistic, which could have been the case. But I feel like, you know, if I want to give my son the life that I almost wish I had, which is what every parent tries to do, but it's like, man, if I could just set him up with enough financials, right, and just put in his mind a business standpoint, you know, a business point of view, and kind of teach him, you know, being kind, but at the same time, don't fuck yourself over. Like just all these things that I know. One of those things where it's like, if I knew now what I knew then, you know, and it's like, if I can just be around him enough to help instill all that into him, dude, like what the fuck could stop him? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like nothing. And it's one of those things where it's like, I have a chance still, but I feel like when it comes to that part of my life, like I've had my chance. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's so hard for me to buckle down and do because it's like I'm 28, bro. Like I want to get out and fucking travel the world and do all these things where it's like now I have a son and it's like, nah, like I could have done that, but I decided to spend 10 years doing drugs. So shut the fuck up, be a dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I focus on now, man. My life today is literally like music, dirt bikes, and my child. Yeah. That is life.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, that sounds
dude,
pretty good.
I love it, man.
Happily married?
Oh my God, yeah. That's a new thing, right? Yeah.
When'd you get married?
Not even a month ago. How long ago did we do that shoot?
That was 2 months ago.
And we got married after that, right?
Okay.
I think, yeah.
You tell me, I don't know.
Yeah,
Bro,
right.
you need to figure this out.
Yeah,
I know.
Before this airs.
Wait. So we got married on the day we found out that we were having a boy, which was, what's this month, January? Which was December something like that. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah.
So y'all having
it's close
another
to Christmas.
So you're having another kid?
It's in the 20th. Absolutely fucking not.
Oh.
Yeah, no. When we found out we were pregnant with our son.
Oh, okay.
Like a year after that, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You were like the day.
Nah. Dude, we've been so blessed with our boy. It's just like, man.
Don't want to tempt fate.
Dude, fuck. I've been a shithead, man.
I got 3. Don't do it.
You know what I'm saying? I've been a shithead, dude. I don't, you know, I got blessed with this one. I'm thinking God's up there like, yeah, I fucked up on that one. Do it again. Watch what happens.
That's why Gabby and I have decided against, at least for the time being, decided against having kids because we have so many good kids in our families, like nephews.
Yeah.
Y'all living that dink life, man.
We are, but we figure that it's just about time for this family, one of these families, to get a real turd, and we don't want to be responsible for that.
Oh man.
Is it time?
It is.
It's time. All right, we do something at the end of the show. We call it rapid fire.
Rapid fire question time.
Oh shit. All right.
It's rapid fire question time.
Shit. All right, let's go.
All right, we're gonna ask you 5 questions. We're gonna take turns. Try to answer them as quickly as possible. Don't think about it too much.
Okay.
All right. So first one. This is a fun one. Finish the lyric.
Okay.
Ba with the ba, da bang, diggy, 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 said the boogie, said up, jumped the boogie.
Ball with the ball, the bang, diggy, 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 said the boogie, said up, chop the boogie. Ball with the ball, the bang, diggy, diggy, diggy. My name is I didn't know where we were going.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
Okay.
Shit.
When was the last time your trailer got stolen?
Ah, fuck, dude. Like 2 weeks ago. Fucking bullshit, bro.
There's the karma there for all the shit that you've done.
But you know what's crazy? Every time that shit gets stolen, I'm not playing no games. Like I go straight for it. Like I've got my trailer back 3 of 3. I'm 3 for 3 on these motherfuckers, dude. Tell them to leave me alone. For real, bro. I pray that I don't, like, I genuinely say prayers. Like I pray I do not catch them stealing it. Like I'd much rather go get it while it's left alone. Yeah, because I love the confrontation. Like that's my shit.
Do you have a tracking device in it?
Yeah,
a couple.
Everything.
Yeah.
I literally have tracking. It got stolen once. I put my drone up. Like I probably spent 45 minutes. I drove, put it up, put it down. Drove, put it up, put it down. Looking in like 2 mile radiuses. Yeah. Finally found it, brought it back. I was like, fucking trackers and everything, dude. My socket set has a fucking tracker in it. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Seriously, man. It's facts.
All right. Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle and why?
Oh my God. Michelangelo, yeah, because that's the only one I know. I didn't even say the name right.
Angelo. He's a new R&B artist.
Yeah, dude. He comes out with his sword. It's like, my name is Keys.
All right, so your dad works for the government, right?
He does, yeah. Yeah, pretty high up there.
Are aliens real?
Dude, are you asking for opinions or facts? You know what's crazy? Every time I ask him shit like that, bro, he brushes me off, doesn't say anything to me.
Can't tell you.
Dude, I've asked shit, though. Like, I've asked shit. Like,
Because he would tell you no.
Yeah, right. Like, I've asked him some shit. Like, when that Ukraine and all that shit started popping off, I was like, yo, Dad, like, let me get the inside scoop. And he's like, completely ignores me. Like,
so
you're my son.
Who killed JFK?
You know what I'm saying?
The FBI really killed Martin Luther King.
Toxicology, you're home for classified information.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, my dad completely bails on me. Any question like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Confirms it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right.
Not doing it.
Exactly.
All right. Ben and Jerry's comes to you. They say they want to make an ice cream flavor for you. What do you call it and what's in it?
Man. Let's call it I'd call it like restaurant bar, and I'll tell you why. Because I had this ice cream one time at this restaurant bar, dude. Let me tell you, this shit was so fire. They like literally like deep fried the ice cream in cinnamon toast crunch with like some type of like, it's almost like they took the filling of the Oreo and put it in the ice cream.
Oh my God.
And they deep fried it. It was the best fucking thing I've ever had.
Oh my God,
in
I'm having
life.
a heart attack.
Yeah, so like so Barstool ice cream or whatever the fuck I said. Yeah, that would be, that shit was
We also would have accepted Cricchi Berry Crunch.
That's fire, dude. I might use that later in life. You never know. I really might use that. That's fire. Yeah.
All right, well.
You got one more.
Oh, I got one more?
5. We got to get 5.
Oh, shit, okay.
1, 2, 3.
Your dad in the government says, Tyler, son, time travel is possible. You could go on vacation anytime, anywhere. Where is it and what time period?
Damn. Where am I going? I'm going to oh, shit. Can I bring shit with me?
No.
Not to alter the future, but I mean, if you want to bring like an iPod shuffle to listen to some music, maybe you can. Just like a rehab.
So I could just, man, truthfully, I wouldn't care where. I almost would just want to see how. Like, I almost would just want to see that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, instead of just being like, here, I almost would want to be like, what happens like all in between?
In between?
Yeah. So I could, because then I'd go back and I'd be like, all right, well, if I don't want this to fucking happen, I got to change this. You know what I'm saying? So
It's
more
too
like-
too much pressure to just go somewhere and change something then.
Yeah, I feel like in the future, man, I think, I don't know, man. The future's so, you don't know what's there, dude. So it's so hard to be like, I'd go here and change this or I'd go here and do this because it's like, fuck. Everything that I thought would happen the way that I thought it would happen, nothing has happened that way. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think I'd be building fucking dirt bike tracks.
Yo, I'm so selfish. I'm like, just like, I would take 10 grand and buy a bunch of fucking Google stock.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Like-
Okay.
So you wouldn't kill Hitler, you would just make money.
So you wouldn't change the world?
Here's why you don't kill Hitler.
Okay.
Right now, Hitler's
He
a bad
made
guy.
roads.
Hitler, bad guy, worst person that ever existed. There's nothing redeeming about him, right? But
Jeez.
the impact he had on the world had such a massive impact in so many different ways that we can't even fathom. That
Yeah,
to
facts.
kill him would modify the world beyond recognition.
Yeah, facts.
And I would be
Without
and I
one
would be
Hitler, there could be a
scared.
million Hitlers.
Exactly. I would be scared.
True.
I would be scared to see what ramifications would come.
That's-
not killing him.
You got a point.
Okay. So let's just say we don't change history at all then.
Oh, then kill Hitler.
Okay.
But then there's no World War II. And then does the U.S. become a superpower? Like, do we end up in this capitalist hell that we're
Or
living
really,
now?
we
Like, you
could
don't
just
fucking know.
still be that land where like everybody's farming and doing all that, which
You don't
let's be
know.
honest, I would fucking appreciate. You know?
How about we just make it so that Kid Rock doesn't get a record deal? Call it even.
Bro, but then I'd never be a rapper, dude. It's like-
All right.
Okay, we could go.
All right. All right. So the last thing we do before we wrap it up, Tyler, is we give you the floor to kind of say whatever you want. If you want to promote something, if you want to pitch something,
Yeah,
if you want to
for
leave a
sure.
message for the viewers, whatever you want to do, go for it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, so promotion-wise, I just dropped a new single. It's called Say Less, Do More. The video is out now. It's actually doing pretty well. I just dropped it like 2 days ago, 4 days ago, I think. It's almost to 4,000.
Where can our
Is it-
listeners find this?
YouTube, man, anywhere that you find music, literally anywhere, even the websites that, aren't on Google.
Yeah.
You can literally find it anywhere. And then as far as the video goes, that's on YouTube.
And your artist name is Tyler.
I am Cricchi.
I am
Cricchi. Yeah, so it's my last name and then I am. So IAMCRICCHI. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And then advice, man, keep going, dude. That's what I say to everybody.
Say less,
like,
do
just
more.
just keep going, dude. Like, whenever you want to complain, shut the fuck up. Keep going. Just keep going. Because I promise you, at the end of it, dude, you'll be like, oh, fuck, I didn't even think this could happen. This is beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
Did either of you see Brendan Fraser's acceptance speech
No.
I did not.
for The Whale?
On the Golden Globes? No, we don't watch the Golden Globes.
Yeah, I
It's-
didn't.
Watch it. It's pretty inspirational. He just says, if you saw The Whale, he's like, if you're in a dark place, just please, and he starts breaking down crying and says, please just walk towards the light and amazing things will happen. And Gabby was showing it to me yesterday. We were both like,
Okay.
It's facts, dude.
I'll go
It's
watch it.
facts.
I'll
Keep
go watch
going. Yeah, man. Keep going, dude. Keep going, man.
All right. Well, thank you again, Tyler, for taking time out of your day to
Absolutely,
come down and hang out with us.
Thanks,
And
Tyler.
thank you to our viewers, listeners, wherever you stream or watch this from. Please don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, leave us reviews on Apple, comments on YouTube, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week. Oh, that's not what we say.
That's
There's
not.
1,000 rows in
and a thousand ways out.
We hope you find yours.